You were finishing some work when the doorbell rang. A smile appeared on your face, thinking it's your husband back from work. Keeping the laptop aside, you got up before walking towards the door and wide opened it with a smile, but it slowly reduced when you realized it wasn't him. Mom, it was Jungkook's mother. She rolled her eyes before looking at you. Did I disturb you? She said in a taunting voice. No, please come in. You said, stepping aside to let her in, but then you noticed something. There was someone else with her. You have seen her in your wedding. Come inside, Meena, she said, looking at her while Meena looked at you before walking inside with her. You tried to maintain the smile and closed the door before coming in the living room. Your stuff was all over the table as you were working, so you quickly collected all the folders and papers, feeling a little bit embarrassed. Actually, I was working. Sorry for the mess. That's why you always wanted to live separately with Jungkook, so you can live carefree and messy life. Can't believe my son has to live in such a mess. You looked at her but didn't say anything. I'll bring coffee. You were about to leave but she stopped you. Don't bother, I'm not here to drink coffee. I don't want to eat or drink anything that is touched by you. You looked at her in disbelief. It's been 4 years to your marriage and her words were getting more and more venomous. It's hard to believe if she even cares how much her words can damage you. What are you saying, Mom? You said in a little cold tone because now you have learned to not let her disrespect you anymore. You have tolerated enough criticism from her side since the beginning just because you were not an ideal wife for her son in her eyes. Why? Did I say anything wrong? You wanted to be independent, wanted to enjoy your life while you were young. Now what? Did you get the satisfaction? Let me tell you something. All that knowledge, all those ambitions of yours, they mean nothing if you can't even do the simplest thing a woman is supposed to. Maybe that's why you're failing trying to be someone you're not. My son deserves better than a barren, self-centered woman who thinks her fancy job matters more than this family. You'll never be a real woman until you give my son the family he deserves. And you clearly can't because you're not capable of that. Tears filled in your eyes even though you didn't let them fall. Your jaw were clenched tightly but her words were not helping you to control your anger and hurt. Enough, Mom. It's sad that you only see value in what a woman can produce. Thank God Jungkook doesn't have a thinking like you. Your son sees me for who I am. He loves me even when I'm not perfect. He's proud of me and I refuse to let your bitterness poison our lives. You are the one who has poisoned my son's life, but I won't let it happen anymore. It's been 4 years, you're not even capable of having a child, but now I'm going to marry him to a woman he deserves, who can give him a future, a family. Your eyes widened at her ill mindset. She called Meena near her. Meena is going to marry him, and if you love Jungkook even a little bit, you'll convince him to marry Meena and start a family with her. She can give him the happiness of a family. You looked at her in disbelief. Are you for real, Mom? Do you think this is some kind of game? Do you think Jungkook will ever forgive you after knowing what you are thinking? You're the one who has made my son's life a joke. He can't have a family, children who can call him dad. He loves kids. He just pretends to be happy, but I'm his mother. I know the pain he has kept inside him. And you're too selfish to see that. You just want him to suffer with you. Mom, please. Please stop and go from here. Those words were stabbing you like a dagger. Meena came near you. Why can't you let him go, Ryan? Don't you care about his happiness? Or you scared that he'll find his true happiness with me? You felt like slapping her right away as she dared to even say that. Scared? You think I'm scared of losing him to you? You think love is something you can just throw away when things don't go perfectly? Jungkook and I built something real, something that goes beyond what you and Mrs. John thinks is necessary for happiness. Mina scoffed, folding her arms. Then why can't you give him what he truly wants, a family? Because he chose me, not for what I can or can't give him, but for who I am. You think you are doing him a favor by trying to tear us apart? You don't know him at all. And who are you to worry about us? Enough of your self-righteous speeches. You're delusional if you think this can last forever. You're standing in the way of my son's happiness. You think Jungkook will keep pretending he's happy without children? It's time you face the truth, she said, coming in Mina's defense. Your chest tightened as her words hit deeper than you expected, but no matter the pain, you knew one thing for sure. Jungkook loves you. And even though his mother couldn't see it, you knew he would never stand by what she and Mina were trying to do. You really believe you know Jungkook better than I do? If you force him to choose between us, you will lose him. Do you honestly think he'll go along with the plan to marry Mina just to satisfy your self-desires? Mina smirked. He might not now, but give him time. He'll realize eventually. He's just blinded by whatever spell you have cast on him. You took a deep breath, trying to calm your composure. The only one blinded here is you, Mina. You and Mom. You think you can manipulate him into something he doesn't want, but when he finds out what you have tried to do behind his back, you'll be the one standing alone. Mrs. John was about to say something in anger, but a voice interrupted and three of you looked in the direction. Mom, what's happening here? He got concerned when he noticed tears in your eyes. He quickly came near you. What happened, Ryan? Are you crying? You looked away, trying not to let your tears fall, but seeing him, they fall without warning. He always knew his mother didn't fully accept you, but seeing you like this, broken and hurt, he could feel his blood beginning to boil. He turned towards his mother, though he was trying to stay calm. His voice had an edge on it. What happened? Why is Ryan crying? Mrs. John crossed her arms, but before she could defend herself, Jungkook looked at you again, resting his hand on your arm, a silent plea for you to tell him the truth. Tell me, Ryan, I want to hear from you. Your throat tightened, and for a moment you weren't sure if you could get the words out, but Jungkook's steady gaze and the warmth of his hand gave you the courage to speak. You looked at him with teary eyes. Your mother, she says some things about how I haven't been able to give you children, how I'm not good enough for you. She wants you to marry Mina instead, to give you the family she thinks you deserve. You glanced over at Mina, who was standing awkwardly, avoiding your gaze but not denying anything. Jungkook's jaw clenched and his hands balled into fists at his sides. He turned towards his mother, while anger in his eyes. He couldn't believe his mother is still the same. Mom, how could you say that? How could you disrespect Ryan like this? She's my wife. You don't get to decide whether she's good enough or not. I do, and I already made that choice when I married her. Mrs. John tried to defend herself. Jungkook, you don't understand. I only want what's best for you. You've always wanted a family, children. I know you, Jungkook, better than anyone. You're just pretending to be okay with this because you love her. But I can see the pain in you. You deserve a future with children, and Mina can give you that. Jungkook shook his head, cutting her off before she could continue. No, you don't know me as well as you think, Mom. You think kids are the only way for me to be happy? Yes, children are a blessing, but that doesn't mean I would throw away my entire life with Vian because it hasn't happened. I didn't marry her because I expected kids. I married her because I love her. And nothing comes before that. His voice grew more forceful, but there was a tremor of hurt beneath the anger, the realization that his own mother couldn't see his happiness for what it was. You don't have the right to make her feel like this. You don't have the right to come here and make my wife cry. I have never given you that right. And if you can't respect her, if you can't accept that she's my family, then I'm not going to stand by and let you hurt her anymore. Mrs. John's eyes widened in shock. She had never heard Jungkook speak to her like this before. I'm your mother. How can you just say that? I'm just trying to protect you. From what? From the woman I love? I don't need protection, Mom. Especially not from Vian. She's the person I chose to spend my life with. Kids or no kids, I'll spend my life with her. If we are blessed with children, great. But if not, it doesn't change anything. I still love her. I'll still stand by her side. You were standing there while tears dropping from your eyes, his mother's face twisted with frustration and her hands trembled slightly. Jungkook, please think about your future. You'll regret this. The only regret I'll have is if I let you tear us apart. I won't let that happen. Meena, who was still standing silently, tried to speak. Jungkook, she's only thinking of your happiness. You know I would. Jungkook shot her a hard look, cutting her off. This has nothing to do with you, Meena. You don't get to come between me and my wife. Whatever you think or whatever my mom wants is not happening. There are other men out there. If you want a marriage, choose for yourself. He turned back to his mother. Mom, I love you, but if you can't accept my life with Vian, if you can't respect her, then you shouldn't come around anymore. Don't come here just to make her feel like this. If you have nothing good to say about my wife, then don't say anything at all. Mrs. John stood there speechless for a moment, her lips pressed into a thin line. She clearly didn't agree, but she also saw that Jungkook wasn't going to change his mind. I want what's best for you, for this family. What's the best for me is standing right here by my side, and if you can't accept that, then we don't have anything else to discuss, he said, holding her hand tightly in his. His warmth and his unwavering support washed over you, and despite the hurt of his mother's words, you felt safe with him. Come on, Vian, let's go. Without another word, he led you in your room, leaving his mom and Meena behind. Meena left from there because she felt humiliated. Mrs. John left after realizing no matter what she'll do, Jungkook will never leave you. For him, you are his everything. Jungkook closed the door to your shared bedroom, making a soft click sound. The room was quiet, with a soft light from the lamp making everything look warm and peaceful. This was the room where you both had shared happy moments and also some sad ones. You stood near the bed, feeling upset and hurt after what Mrs. John had said. Jungkook noticed how sad you looked. His face was full of worry and care for you. Without saying anything, he came closer and gently touched your face, wiping away the tears that was still on your cheeks, trying to comfort you. He didn't need to say anything right away. His actions showed that he was there for you. Vian, listen to me. His voice was gentle, filled with love you knew so well. You couldn't meet his eyes, not yet. The pain from earlier was still raw, still twisting your heart in ways that made it hard to breathe. Look at me, please. His thumb softly stroked your cheek, and you finally lifted your gaze to meet his. The intensity of his stare made your chest tighten, not from pain this time, but from the overwhelming love he was pouring into you. You know me, you know my heart. What my mom says, what anyone else thinks, it doesn't matter. It never has and it never will. The only thing that matters to me is you, us. Do you hear me? His voice cracked slightly. You are my everything, Vian. When I married you, I didn't marry you for what you could give me or what others think you should be. I married you because I can't imagine my life without you, because I love you more than anything in this world. You tried to control your tears, but they fell. You felt his love surround you like a blanket, protecting you from the harshness of the world. But what if she's right? What if I'm not enough for you? You deserve so much, Jungkook. I can't give you everything you deserve. Stop. He pulled you closer and rested his forehead against yours, his breath steadying you. You are more than enough. You have always been more than enough. I don't need anything else. I don't need anyone else. Kids, no kids. None of that matters to me. You're all I want, Ryan. You are my family. I don't care about anyone's expectations or what they think I deserve. I chose you. I'll choose you every single day for the rest of my life. His words felt like a warm hug for your heart, helping to heal the pain you felt from Mrs. John's harsh words. Jungkook held you tightly in his arms, pulling you close to his chest as if he could protect you from all the hurt you had ever felt. I don't ever want you to doubt that, not for 1 second. I love you, Ryan, and nothing anyone says will ever change that. What we have, it's ours, it's real. You don't have to prove anything to me. I already know your worth. I've always known. You buried your face in his chest. The dam broke and you cried, not because of the hurt anymore, but because of the overwhelming love he was pouring into you. You clung to him, feeling the strength in his embrace, the safety in his words. I love you, Jungkook. I just want to be enough for you. I don't want to be the reason you are ever unhappy. Jungkook gently lifted your chin so you were looking at him again, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears of his own. Ryan, you make me the happiest man alive. Just being with you, waking up next to you every day, that's my happiness. You are my happiness. Please don't ever forget that. I don't care about what we don't have. I care about you. And as long as we have each other, that's all that matters. He kissed you softly, making you feel safe and loved. It wasn't just a kiss. It felt like a promise deep inside, a promise that you would always be together no matter what. Don't let anyone, not even my mom, makes you doubt what we have. You're my wife, my partner, my everything. And no one, nothing will ever change that. You're enough, Ryan. You have always been enough. Tears continued to slip down your cheeks, but this time they were tears of gratitude, of relief, of love. You held on to him as if he were your anchor, knowing that with him you could weather any storm. We'll be okay, Ryan. We'll always be okay as long as we have each other. In that moment, wrapped in his arms, you believed him. The world outside might be harsh, but in his arms, you were home. And in his heart, you knew you were enough, always enough.